Hello, friend, and welcome to The Sleepy Meteorologist. I'm so glad you're here. Tonight, we'll be drifting gently through the quiet and beautiful world of snowflakes, delicate crystals formed in the cold hush of sky, each one unique, each one silent, each one shaped by invisible winds and the hush of wintertime breath. Maybe your day has been long, or maybe your evening is simply ready to settle into stillness. Either way, you've arrived in a soft little corner of calm. Take a breath, slow and unhurried, and maybe even another. How's the sky looking where you are tonight? Is it clear, clouded, glowing with stars? Here, in this quiet space, we'll follow the rhythms of weather and wonder with a pace that asks nothing of you at all. If you enjoy these calming meteorology journeys, feel free to like or subscribe. Your presence helps more sleepy travelers find their way here, one quiet viewer at a time. For now, you can snuggle in. Let's drift into our journey. Let's begin. High in the cold embrace of clouds, far above rooftops and treetops, beyond where birds fly and winds hum, a snowflake is born. It doesn't arrive all at once. It begins in a whisper. The air here is thin and hushed. Moisture floats freely, carried in invisible currents, and every so often, in just the right moment, something small, something ordinary, becomes the starting point. It might be a speck of dust, a grain of soil, a bit of ash from a distant fire, or a tiny fragment of pollen drifting from a flower long since faded. This particle becomes a nucleus, a seed around which something beautiful will grow. The air is cold, below freezing, so cold that the moisture in the air doesn't become liquid. It goes straight from vapor to ice, a process called deposition. Around the nucleus, water molecules begin to gather, joining together in a slow, silent dance. One after another, they freeze into place. Molecule by molecule, they form the first tiny crystal of ice. It is invisible at first, smaller than a grain of sand, but it begins to grow. The crystal extends outward in 6 directions, following the natural shape of water's molecular bonds. This is the beginning of its hexagonal symmetry, a frozen geometry, repeating and delicate. As it floats inside the cloud, the flake encounters layers of air, some more moist, some colder, some calmer, some stirred by subtle wind. These differences guide how the crystal grows. In drier regions, it may grow slowly, forming simple plates or columns. In more humid pockets, it may branch outward, spinning fine arms like lacework, each one echoing the others in quiet harmony. Snowflakes don't rush. They build slowly, listening to the air. A single flake may spend minutes drifting inside the cloud, growing, branching, adjusting, never knowing what shape it will become. The conditions are always changing: temperature, vapor, motion. So each flake writes a different story. In ice, some grow wide, some grow tall, some remain small and compact, others bloom like stars. You might imagine one now, spinning slowly in the sky's silence, its form unfolding like a frozen flower, breath by breath. No 2 flakes follow the exact same path. No 2 form under precisely the same conditions. And so, no 2 are the same. They are unique, not because they try to be, but because the sky is full of possibility. From one invisible nucleus, a snowflake becomes a sculpture, written in air, formed by cold, shaped by stillness. And even now, as we rest here together, this quiet transformation continues above us. High in the clouds, countless snowflakes are being born, growing, branching, floating, waiting for their turn to fall. Some will melt before they ever reach the ground. Some will drift for miles. Some will join others in a gentle flurry. Some will land alone on a windowsill or mitten. But all of them begin the same way, from vapor to crystal to form, from formlessness to beauty, from stillness to snow. And tonight, perhaps your thoughts are like those first molecules, floating, quiet, waiting for shape. Let them begin to settle. Let your breath become the cold cloud. Let your mind become still enough to form something delicate. No need to rush. Just drift. Just grow. You are allowed to take shape slowly, like a snowflake, like peace, like sleep. Settle in now, deeper into the softness of snow. Tonight, we're floating through the quiet perfection of geometry, not the sharp angles of a chalkboard diagram, but nature's own hushed expression of balance. A snowflake, after all, is a pattern written in ice. A silent song shaped by temperature, time, and the invisible breath of air. When you gaze at a snowflake up close, if you're lucky enough to catch one on your mitten or sleeve, you might notice something quietly remarkable. 6 arms, 6 delicate branches, radiating outward from a single center point. Why 6? The answer begins at the tiniest level, in the invisible architecture of water itself. Water molecules are shaped like tiny bent V's, made of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen. When these molecules slow down in the cold, they begin to lock together in a repeating pattern, not at random, but with order. This order forms a crystal, and in the case of ice, the way these molecules arrange themselves naturally creates a 6-sided shape, a hexagon. This hexagonal structure is the foundation of every snowflake's symmetry. It's as if each flake carries a secret blueprint, quietly inherited from the physics of freezing. But within this simple rule, the rule of 6, lies endless variation. As a flake begins to grow, it tumbles through layers of the atmosphere, each with different temperatures and levels of humidity. These conditions gently sculpt the snowflake's arms, guiding how they branch, how wide they stretch, how many delicate fingers they form. No 2 arms are exactly the same, but they all follow the same general path, echoing the 6-fold pattern again and again. It's nature's soft mathematics, not rigid, but fluid, not forced, but graceful. And so, each snowflake becomes a frozen moment in the sky's breath, a record of the conditions it passed through as it fell, crystal by crystal. Some flakes are wide and plate-like, with flat, starry designs that shimmer as they descend. Others are slender and needle-like, or clustered into feathery dendrites that resemble frosty ferns. The colder the air, the more intricate the shape can become. But even simple flakes hold the memory of symmetry. The 6-sided rule remains, quietly present in every form. It's comforting to think that even in something so fleeting, a flake that melts the moment it meets your skin, there is structure, order, a little piece of the universe's rhythm, gently falling from the sky. You might imagine the flake's journey, now drifting slowly downward, turning like a music box ballerina, catching glints of pale starlight, breathing the silence of the upper air. It does not rush, it simply follows the wind, and always it holds its shape, expanding gently, growing outward in 6 directions at once, like a snowflower unfolding in slow motion. The next time you see snow falling outside your window, you might picture this quiet miracle, that every flake, whether you see it clearly or not, is following the same soft principle. Each is a frozen whisper of harmony, born from the same hidden rules. 6 arms, 1 rhythm, infinite beauty, spun from the breath of cold. And you, tucked in and resting now, are part of the same world that makes this wonder. So let the flake fall. Let your breath slow. Feel the calm of symmetry, the peace of pattern, the quiet guidance of the sky's invisible script, and drift like the snowflake does, gently, evenly, softly spinning. It's often said, softly, almost with wonder, that no two snowflakes are the same. Tonight, we'll follow one of them, just one, a quiet traveler, born high in the hush of a winter cloud. From there, we'll drift with it, gently downward, through layers of cold air, through currents and eddies, all the way to the waiting earth below. Each snowflake begins with the same soft architecture, a speck of dust or pollen, wrapped in the chill breath of the atmosphere. Water vapor gathers and crystallizes around this center, building outward in slow, silent branches. But from that first moment, the flake's story begins to diverge. The path it takes, winding and weightless, shapes everything. As the flake tumbles through the sky, it passes through shifting pockets of air, each with its own temperature, its own breath of humidity. Sometimes the air is dry and cold, sharpening the flake's edges into clean, simple plates. Other times, it's slightly warmer, encouraging curling dendrites or intricate arms like the lace on a snow-dusted shawl. A breeze may carry it sideways, spinning it slightly, tilting it into a colder layer or a moister one. Every tiny shift in direction brings a change in growth, a new branch, a different texture, a softer angle. Even a fraction of a degree matters. No two flakes follow precisely the same route. And because of this, no two will ever be carved in quite the same way. Imagine that now, millions, even billions of snowflakes, all forming and falling, each one carrying the record of its journey, each one a frozen diary of the sky it passed through. And yet, all of them are quiet. None boast their uniqueness. They simply fall, softly. The phrase, no two alike, isn't just poetic. Scientists have studied countless snow crystals under microscopes, and, though they may find similar patterns, the tiniest details, branching angles, ridges, and hollows, are always different. It's as if the sky were an artist with infinite patience and infinite brushes, painting one flake at a time. And though we may not see their details before they melt, each one completes its descent with grace, a tiny masterpiece landing unnoticed. Perhaps it's comforting to think that something so small can carry such individuality without needing to declare it. It simply is, just like you, resting here, nestled in your own stillness, shaped by your days, your thoughts, your dreams, quietly unique, like the flake, and just as worthy of gentleness. So let's drift with our flake a little longer, watching as it turns slowly through moonlit air. It doesn't rush. It doesn't resist. It simply responds to the winds, the temperature, the hush. And as it nears the ground, it may settle on a tree branch, or melt on a warm window pane, or come to rest beside countless others, forming a snowbank that glows under starlight. Its journey, though silent, has been entirely its own. And now, you too can rest into that softness, knowing there is no other moment quite like this one, no other breath quite like yours. You too are one of a kind, and just like the flake, you are allowed to fall gently, to settle softly, to disappear into rest. No need to be seen to be beautiful, no need to be the same to belong, only hush now and drift. Let's return to the clouds tonight, to the high whispering layers where snow begins its silent bloom. Up here, in the chilled upper reaches of the sky, water does something rather magical. It waits. Though the temperature may be far below freezing, countless tiny water droplets remain in liquid form, suspended between states. This is what scientists call supercooled water, a delicate condition where liquid defies the cold, lingering just above the threshold of transformation. It's a fragile balance. These droplets are colder than ice, and yet they do not freeze on their own, not until something touches them. A dust particle, a speck of salt, a shard of ice crystal already formed. And when they do touch, they freeze instantly, a flash of stillness, wrapping the flake's growing form in new layers of shimmering ice. This moment, though unseen, is part of every snowflake's birth. It's the quiet handshake between water and crystal, the gentle meeting that allows the flake to grow its shape. It's here that beauty begins. Supercooled droplets cling to the flake's arms, one by one, adding mass and structure, helping it unfold like the petals of a frost flower. But the shape it takes depends entirely on the environment. A breath warmer, and the arms grow broader. A breath colder, and they narrow. Even the purity of the water matters. Impurities, tiny particles floating in the cloud, provide the seeds for freezing, shaping the flake from its earliest moment. And so, in this high, cloud-bound space, you'll find a delicate chemistry at work: temperature, moisture, motion, and time, all balancing like dancers on a thin line of air. From the ground, it looks so simple: snow just falling from the sky. But up here, it's a quiet miracle of patience and precision. Supercooled water is nature in pause, in waiting, in readiness. And perhaps you've known moments like that too, when everything inside you felt just on the edge of change, when you weren't quite one thing or another, but resting softly in between. The sky knows how to hold such moments, to cradle them, to let them become what they will in time. As snowflakes descend, they carry this story, not of instant creation, but of gentle transformation. And still, the world below waits without worry. It knows that snow will come when it's ready. You might imagine it now, that suspended world within the cloud, where droplets hover like thoughts not yet spoken, where silence stretches and beauty builds, unseen. And tonight, as you rest, you can join it. That place between waking and dreaming, between thought and sleep. You don't need to rush toward rest. You can linger in the softness, in the hush, in the space where change begins. Like the droplet, waiting, like the flake, forming, like the cloud, cradling them both. And soon, when the time is right, you'll drift down too, into sleep, into snow, into softness. Let's return, once again, to the silent heart of winter. Tonight, we'll wander through a gentle archive, the quiet taxonomy of snow. You may picture snowflakes as perfect six-pointed stars, the kind children cut from folded paper. But nature's library of snow is much more varied and far more subtle. Not all snowflakes wear star-shaped crowns. Some form into simple, flat plates, like tiny mirrors drifting downward, catching the soft light as they fall. Others stretch long and slender, growing into fine, icy needles that twirl through the air like silver threads. And some take on more curious forms: hollow columns, capped columns, or delicate combinations of shapes that seem almost architectural in their precision. Each form, each quiet variation, is written by the air itself. High above, in the cold clouds where snowflakes are born, small shifts in temperature and humidity act as invisible authors, shaping the growing crystals one molecule at a time. When the air is very cold and dry, flakes tend to grow as long, narrow columns. With a little more moisture, they may stretch wider into flat plates. And when conditions shift yet again to a sweet spot just below freezing with ample water vapor, the flake may bloom into the classic branching dendrite, feathery and elaborate. And yet, even within those types, endless variety. Scientists have quietly categorized these shapes into families, a graceful classification of plates, needles, prisms, bullets, and stars. It's like a secret alphabet drifting from the clouds, a softly spoken language of ice. Imagine now a hollow column, a flake shaped like a tiny tunnel of ice, invisible to the naked eye but perfectly sculpted by temperature and time. It's not trying to be beautiful, it simply is. Picture a needle, long and fine, carried by the breeze in a slow spiral, as if stitching the sky with silver thread. Or a capped column, a central shaft with wide, disc-like ends, like a snowflake wearing a crown at either tip. These shapes don't shout for attention. They're not made for us to notice, but they're there, in every snowfall, millions upon millions of tiny sculptures drifting through the hush. It's peaceful to think of, isn't it? That even in a passing flurry, there's a quiet collection of forms, a frozen library with no need for shelves or covers, only air. And you, listening now, are part of this moment where science becomes softness, where the cold becomes comfort. Each crystal shape is a whisper from the sky, a note in a silent winter song. So the next time snow falls where you are, let your eyes soften. Look not just for stars, but for the hidden shapes, the ones that fall unnoticed, the ones that simply are, like thoughts we don't say out loud, like dreams we only half remember. And now you can let yourself drift with them, gently, easily, through this gentle catalogue of forms, not needing to name or classify, only to rest in their presence. The storm, after all, is not just a flurry. It is a collection. It is a library. It is a lullaby of forms, soft, slow, still. Come closer now. We're going to fall, not in a rush, not with force, but slowly, as snowflakes do, through the layers of sky that carry them gently toward the earth. This is the snowflake's descent. From high within the cold arms of a cloud, a crystal begins its downward journey. It does not fall in a straight line. It drifts, meanders, twists in slow spirals, carried on the invisible staircases of wind. Each layer of atmosphere it passes through is different. Some colder, some warmer, some wet with vapor, others dry and still. And each one leaves its mark. As the flake travels, its shape begins to change. It may pass through a warmer band of air that causes its edges to melt slightly. Not enough to dissolve, but just enough to soften. When it enters colder air again, that water refreezes, reshaping the flake with tiny ridges or new textures. Sometimes flakes touch one another, brushing gently in midair. If their surfaces are sticky with melt, they may join together, two crystals becoming one, or three, or more. This is how snowflakes can grow into larger clumps, soft clusters of flakes, like little snow pillows drifting together. This process is called aggregation, a sleepy word for the way snow gathers itself during descent. It's easy to imagine the sky as a great cold staircase, each step a different temperature, a new humidity. The flake passes from one to the next, adapting as it goes, never hurrying, never knowing exactly where it will land, only responding to what it meets. Sometimes the journey is gentle all the way down, calm air, smooth motion, a soft arrival. Other times, it's a little more playful, breezes nudging the flake in loops and spins, sending it sideways, upward, down again, but always, always downward in time. As the flake nears the ground, the air thickens and slows its fall. It may take several minutes to reach the surface, especially if the air is still. And during that time, it changes again, bending, branching, or shrinking, depending on the warmth of the air below. In one final act of stillness, it touches down, on a field, on a rooftop, on the back of your mitten, its journey complete. There's something tender about this, isn't there? A voyage so quiet, so light, and yet so shaped by every step. The flake has no control over the winds or the warmth, and yet it adapts, grows, softens, lands, and now you might follow it in your thoughts, drifting lower with each breath, floating down through your own layers of quiet. You don't need to rush to sleep. You only need to descend, like the snowflake, carried gently, changed, but not broken. You are allowed to move slowly, to be reshaped by softness, to land lightly in your own quiet place. Let the layers carry you. Let the air guide you. Let the hush surround you. You are drifting now, and all is calm. Close your eyes now, and picture a field just after snowfall. The world is hushed, everything softened beneath a cover of white. And then, as sunlight breaks across the sky, something magical begins to happen. The snow begins to sparkle, tiny glints like stars scattered across the ground, a gentle shimmer that seems to flicker and dance with your gaze. It isn't loud, it isn't showy, just soft pulses of brightness, like a breath of starlight come down to rest. But what causes this quiet glow? The answer lies in the shapes beneath our feet, in the snowflakes themselves. Snow is made of countless crystals, and each flake has flat, angular surfaces formed by ice. These surfaces behave like tiny mirrors. As sunlight or moonlight reaches the snow, it hits these little panes of ice and reflects in many directions. Each flake catches the light just slightly differently. Some reflect it back toward the sky. Others angle it outward. Some scatter it in gentle fragments, diffusing it into a silvery haze. Together, these reflections create that familiar sparkle, a kind of twinkling, where no single point of light is still. And because snow is not smooth but layered, with flakes piled loosely on top of one another, the light becomes trapped and refracted within, bouncing softly from surface to surface before finding its way out. This is why fresh snow glows more brightly than snow that's been packed down or melted and refrozen. The more complex the crystal shapes, the more reflective surfaces there are, and the more beautifully the snow glistens. During the day, the light is golden and clear, a soft shimmer across hillsides and rooftops. But at night, under a full moon, or even the distant glow of city lights, snow takes on a silver quality, almost bluish, dreamlike. You may have seen it, a landscape that glows from within, lit by nothing more than the night itself. Quiet, otherworldly, peaceful. It's as if the snow remembers the light it once held and gently releases it back into the dark. Even when the sky is cloudy and the stars are hidden, snow carries this secret illumination, not bright enough to startle, just enough to guide your gaze softly. And so, snow becomes a kind of mirror, reflecting not only the sky above, but the stillness within. The next time you see snow glinting under the sun, or shimmering faintly in the moonlight, know that you're witnessing a dance between light and crystal. Each flake plays its part, not for attention, but simply by being what it is, angled ice in the arms of winter. And you, watching or imagining, can let that shimmer fill your thoughts. You don't need to hold the light yourself. Just reflect it. Just rest beneath it. Tonight, you may picture yourself wrapped in snow's silver glow, a gentle world where every surface shines with softness. The sparkle doesn't rush, it doesn't push, it just appears, like the light in you, quiet, steady, enough. So breathe softly now, and let yourself glisten in stillness. Tonight, we turn our gaze inward to the quiet mathematics of snow. Not equations on a chalkboard, but the soft geometry written in crystal and frost. Every snowflake is a fractal, a repeating pattern that grows outward, echoing itself again and again in smaller and smaller forms. It begins simply, a tiny seed, an ice crystal forming around a speck of dust or pollen. From this center, arms begin to stretch outward, 6 usually, following the shape set by the molecular structure of water. But then, something beautiful happens. Each arm begins to branch, and each branch may branch again and again. A snowflake's structure is not random, but recursive. Its complexity emerges from repetition, small variations echoing across scale. What happens on one side is mirrored on the others, shaped by the same air, the same moisture, the same breath of wind. This is the nature of fractals, patterns that mirror themselves, no matter how closely or distantly you look. A large snowflake may have dozens of delicate branches, each echoing the same basic shape. It is both simple and intricate, both whole and full of smaller wholeness. Nature, it turns out, builds with elegance. Fractals are not limited to snowflakes. We see them in the ferns that uncurl in the spring, in the branches of trees, in river deltas, even in the way lightning forks across the sky. They are nature's quiet signature, a way of saying, this pattern works, let's build again. In snowflakes, this pattern is written in ice. What's extraordinary is that this repetition isn't forced. It arises naturally from the laws of physics, from the chill of air, from the timing of condensation and crystallization. What starts as a tiny shape becomes a design, and then a more elaborate design, until what we see is a frozen flower, a moment of geometry suspended in descent. There's something deeply restful about this. That beauty can arise from a single, simple rule, repeated with patience and care. Perhaps you felt it in your own life, the way small habits become rhythms, the way gentle thoughts build into dreams, the way you return to certain patterns, not out of habit, but because they feel right, natural. Snowflakes do the same. They follow the air, they follow the shape, they follow the stillness, and in doing so, they grow more beautiful. So tonight, let your thoughts unfold like fractals. Let one soft idea give birth to another. Let each breath echo the last. Let sleep build itself gently within you, repetition after repetition, until you drift into something vast and quiet. Fractals do not rush. They do not shout. They whisper, grow gently, repeat softly, become. You don't need to be complex all at once. Just begin with one shape, one breath, one softness, and let the rest build, like snow, like peace, like sleep. Tonight, let's turn our eyes skyward, not for stars, but for something rarer. Not every snowflake is small. Now and then, under just the right conditions, the sky sends down something grand. A snowflake, yes, still a snowflake, but one that stretches across several inches. Not sharp or stiff, but airy, sprawling, intricate. These are giant snowflakes, quiet chandeliers of ice, born in clouds soft enough to cradle their size. Most snowflakes are tiny, barely more than a millimeter across. You could catch a dozen on your fingertip and still have room for more. But when the atmosphere is moist and still, when the temperature lingers near freezing and the winds fall silent, something different happens. Snowflakes, instead of falling apart, begin to stick together. They collide gently in the air, their surfaces just wet enough to hold, not melt, not freeze entirely, but cling, one dendrite to another, plate to plate, flake to flake, and slowly the giant is formed. It's not a single flake, really, but a cluster, a delicate collection of crystals bonded into a larger shape. Sometimes they resemble wheels of lace, other times feathery stars that span as wide as your palm. The largest ever recorded measured more than 5 inches across, wide enough to cover a small plate, light enough to float like breath. Imagine one now, descending through the stillness of a winter evening, drifting not down in haste, but in a kind of suspended spiral, turning slightly with the breeze, catching light on each mirrored face, reflecting 100 soft glints like a lantern of frost. It moves like a snow lantern, like a dream made visible, like sky embroidery, gently released. To see one is rare. These giants only appear when all the delicate balances align, when temperature, humidity, and air motion combine just so. They are too fragile for wind. A gust would tear them apart. But when the air is calm, when the world holds its breath, they have time to form and fall whole. They tend to appear during warm snowfalls, flakes that fall slowly, heavily, with that silent hush you can almost feel in your chest. And if you're lucky enough to stand beneath one, arms outstretched, you might feel it land, feather-light, but wide enough to notice. For a moment, it rests before vanishing into melt. No two are alike. No two last for long. And that's part of their beauty, their impermanence. They remind us that not all grandeur is loud. Some of it is soft. Some of it spins slowly through the air and lands unseen. And now, as you rest, you might picture yourself beneath that slow falling sky, watching lace descend from cloud to earth, each flake a chandelier, each motion a lullaby. Let your breath be slow. Let your thoughts drift wide. You are allowed to take up space softly, like the giant flake, large but never heavy, elegant but never hurried. Float now, and let the stillness catch you. Shh. Can you hear it? No? That's part of the magic. Tonight, we listen not for sound, but for the absence of it. When snow falls, the world grows quiet, not just visually, but audibly. There is a hush that settles over the landscape, a silence that's not empty, but full of softness. This is the sound of snowfall. It begins high above, with snowflakes drifting through air. They make no sound as they fall, no tapping, no ticking, just motion through atmosphere, slow and silent. And as they land, they do something extraordinary. They muffle everything around them. Fresh snow is made of millions of tiny crystals, each one filled with gaps and curves. When sound waves hit these soft surfaces, the energy is absorbed, caught in the spaces between flakes, scattered and quieted before it can echo. Even footsteps sound different on fresh snow. A padded crunch, muted and round. Voices become hushed. The wind seems to step lighter. Trees no longer creak, but sigh. In cities, snowfall changes the acoustics of entire streets. The usual hum, traffic, chatter, construction softens. It's as if the snow wraps the world in a blanket of hush. Scientists call this sound absorption, but we, tonight, might call it peace. When you walk outside during a snowfall, there's a feeling, not just of seeing the snow, but of hearing its silence. An acoustic pause, a lull in the noise of everything else. Even inside, you can sense it. The outside world muffled, time slowed, and within that stillness, your own breath becomes more noticeable. The quiet in your chest, the rhythm of inhale and exhale. The snow in this way invites you inward, not to isolate, but to listen, to feel. Imagine now a snowy forest, the trees dusted in white, the air thick with falling flakes. No animals scurry, no birds call, just you and the soft breath of snow. You might hear a single drop of melt from a branch, or the distant shift of snow sliding from a rooftop. But mostly, it is quiet, and in that quiet, the world becomes gentle. You don't need to fill the space with thought. You don't need to chase sound or sense. You can let the hush hold you, like snow holds the earth. You are allowed to become still, to be covered in quiet. And as the snow absorbs the day's noise, let it absorb your worries too. Let each flake soften the edges of thought. Let your mind muffle its pace. Breathe slowly, in and out, like wind across a sleeping field. The world does not always need sound. Sometimes it needs silence, and so do you. So rest now. Let the hush deepen. Let the snowfall continue, softly, invisibly, until all that remains is stillness and sleep. Tonight, we drift into a hidden map in the sky, not made of stars or winds, but of temperatures. Imagine a tree, not with bark and leaves, but a tree made of possibilities, branching out in all directions. This is the temperature tree, and it guides the shape of every snowflake. Each time a snowflake is born, it steps onto one of this tree's invisible branches. And depending on the air's temperature and how much moisture it holds, the flake begins to grow in a certain way. Warmer air, the flake may become a wide, flat plate. Colder air, it may form long, slender needles. Something in between, perhaps a capped column, or a delicate, star-like dendrite. Every small change in temperature nudges the snowflake along a different path on this branching tree of forms. It's as if the flake is asking the sky, "What should I become?" And the air, ever so softly, answers. Scientists have traced this phenomenon through observation, creating diagrams that resemble delicate trees, with each type of snowflake as a leaf along a particular branch. Around 23 degrees Fahrenheit, for instance, conditions are just right for needles to grow. At 5 degrees Fahrenheit, dendrites bloom like icy flowers. At even lower temperatures, the snowflake becomes simpler again, smaller, more compact. This is the morphology diagram, or, in softer terms, the sky's decision tree. It's beautiful to imagine, the idea that temperature isn't just a number, but a sculptor, an artist with frosted tools, gently carving out form from breath. And yet, temperature isn't alone in its influence. Moisture, or supersaturation, as scientists call it, plays a role too. High humidity leads to more elaborate branching. Dry air yields simpler shapes. The flake listens to both, constantly responding. It's a quiet collaboration. Now, imagine the snowflake's journey, moving through the sky's branching corridors. At one level, it begins as a column. Then it drifts downward into a warmer layer, reshaped into a plate. Then colder again, forming side branches, tiny ferns of ice upon its arms. It doesn't resist these changes. It simply adapts, following the tree. It doesn't need to know where it will land, or even what it will become. It simply grows with grace, and you, tonight, may follow a similar path, your thoughts shifting gently, reshaped by softness, drifting along a tree of rest. You don't need to choose every direction right now. You don't need to be one thing all at once. Like the snowflake, you can let each layer of quiet guide you, each breath a different branch. Maybe tonight your sleep is a simple flake, compact, peaceful. Maybe it's a dendrite, layered, drifting, deep. Either way, it is shaped perfectly by the air around you. And as you let yourself drift, you might imagine the sky's temperature, tree, reaching out gently across the night, welcoming you into its branches. There's no need to climb. You are already part of it, and sleep is just a branch away. Let's rise again, gently, slowly, into the sky where snow is made. Up here, in the higher reaches of the atmosphere, the world feels different. Air is thinner, colder, quieter. And among this chilled stillness float the silent architects of snowfall, clouds. But not all clouds make snow. Only a few wear that particular hush. The most common snow-making cloud is the nimbostratus, a broad grey layer that stretches like a thick blanket across the sky. You may have seen it on overcast winter days. Not dramatic, not towering, just steady. These clouds are gentle in motion, but deep, thick enough to hold moisture and cold from top to bottom. Within them, snowflakes form quietly and fall without fuss. They bring soft, persistent snowfall, the kind that can last all day, laying down inch after inch in silence. Another snowbearer is the stratocumulus cloud. These are lower, puffier, sometimes drifting in patches. On their own, they rarely snow, but when paired with just the right chill, they may let fall a flurry or two. Higher still are the altostratus clouds, pale veils across the sun or moon. When you see one glowing softly in the afternoon, it may mean snow is whispering on the way. These clouds don't look heavy, but they carry secrets in their mist. And then there are the cumulonimbus, the great towers of summer storms. And yes, under the right winter conditions, they too can bring snow. Not gentle flurries, but snow showers, fast and brief, often with gusts and bursts. Snow that begins and ends quickly, like a curtain briefly lifted and drawn again. Each of these clouds carries snow differently. Some cradle it gently, others cast it down with flair, but all begin the same way, with cold air, moisture, and the will to release. You might imagine drifting now, inside a snowing nimbostratus, moving through grey softness, layer by layer. You're not falling, not quite, just suspended, inside the calm machinery of the sky. Within this cloud, snowflakes begin to form around tiny particles. Water vapor clings, freezes, spreads. Flakes grow larger as they drift inside, bumping softly into others, then falling when they grow too heavy to stay aloft. And so begins the snow, falling from cloud to earth, from layer to breath. And what is a snow cloud, really, but a place of pause? A place where water becomes ice, becomes movement. A place where silence gathers shape. The next time snow falls, look up, gently, through your window, or from beneath a warm scarf. You may not see the cloud's full form, but you'll feel it, in the grey, in the quiet, in the way the light changes as flakes begin to fall. Not all clouds are stormy, not all skies are blue. Some are simply waiting, and tonight you can be like that too, soft, holding potential, ready to release only what's needed. When it's time, rest in the cloud's embrace. Let your thoughts condense into dreams. Let your breath cool and fall. And when you're ready, let go, like snow from a quiet sky. Not all snow is the same. Tonight, we'll settle into the gentle differences, the soft distinctions between snowflakes and snow grains, two kinds of ice from the sky, shaped by different journeys. When we think of snow, we often imagine flakes, lacy, six-armed stars tumbling gently from a quiet sky, delicate, intricate, formed in clouds with just the right cold, the right moisture, the right kind of breath from the wind. But sometimes, snow is simpler, quieter still. These are the snow grains, small, round, or flat particles of ice, often falling when the sky is grey and quiet, with no wind at all. You can think of snow grains as the sleepier cousins of snowflakes. They form not in lofty, high-altitude clouds, but in lower, more stable layers, especially when the temperatures hover near freezing. Where snowflakes bloom and branch, snow grains do not grow elaborate arms or shapes. They remain compact, modest, a flake that never unfolded. Each grain is like a soft punctuation mark, a tiny period in the sentence of the sky. And while flakes drift slowly, often caught in breezes, snow grains tend to fall straight down. They're heavier for their size and don't float or twirl. They arrive with little fanfare, like a whisper rather than a song. You might see snow grains during freezing drizzle or near foggy, overcast skies. They don't stack up quickly, they don't shimmer, but they do something just as beautiful. They create a sense of stillness. Snowflakes decorate, snow grains settle. Snowflakes form high in clouds, growing as they fall, building beauty through their journey. Snow grains, by contrast, are preformed and compact, the result of droplets freezing into solid particles, without the space or time for branching. It's the difference between lace and felt, between sparkle and hush, yet both are part of winter's vocabulary. When snow grains fall, you might not even notice at first. There's no swirl, no change in light, just a subtle shift, a dusting on railings, a softening of sound, a gentle reminder that snow doesn't always need to dazzle to be present. And when they land, they tend to pack together more densely. They don't fluff up like flakes. They tuck in, close and quiet, like a woolen blanket rather than a feather one. In avalanche studies, this matters. Snow grains create a harder surface layer, more bonded, less airy. But tonight, in our quiet space, we're simply observing their texture, their stillness. Perhaps you felt like that yourself, not bright or ornate, but grounded, solid, present. Snowflakes may catch the eye, but snow grains catch the ground. They make the first layer. They create the base. They hold. So now, as you lie still, imagine these tiny ice grains falling, gently, directly, with no need to perform. They fall straight and land fully, as if they were always meant to be there, like you, in this moment, simple, grounded, enough. Let go of the need to sparkle. Tonight, you can simply settle, quiet as a snow grain, still as winter itself. Come closer now. We're going to look not at single snowflakes, but at what happens when they come together. Sometimes, when the air is just right, moist and still, snowflakes begin to touch as they fall. They drift into one another. Their lacy arms meet and tangle. And rather than separating, they stick. The result? Something called an aggregate, or a crystal cluster. An aggregate is not a single flake, but a group, a gathering of crystals, a soft collection, held gently together by surface tension, cold and calm. If you've ever looked up during a heavy snowfall and seen large flakes tumbling from the sky, what you likely saw wasn't one snowflake at all, but many, clustered into a beautiful, fluffy shape. These clustered flakes look almost like pieces of torn cotton, big and bright, feathery and soft. They fall faster than individual flakes, but still float enough to seem weightless. For aggregates to form, the air must be warm enough, just below freezing, so that the surfaces of the flakes are slightly moist. This stickiness lets them adhere when they touch. Too cold, and they won't cling. Too warm, and they'll melt. It's a delicate moment, one where flakes are still themselves, but open to connection. And isn't that a comforting thought? That beauty can emerge from coming together, from soft collisions, from quiet company. These snowflake clusters are larger, yes, but also more fragile. A breeze can pull them apart. A touch can dissolve them. Their life is brief, but while they last, they are some of the most stunning snowforms the sky can offer. You might picture one now, spinning slowly as it falls, light scattering from a dozen mirrored arms. Branches nestle together like fingers in rest. And it's not only flakes that cluster. Even in clouds, crystals group before they fall, beginning their descent as small snow pellets or rosettes, bonded already by touch. Sometimes, aggregates can even grow into snow pellets, called graupel, where the cluster becomes coated in rime, creating a rounded, soft pellet that feels like sleet, but is made entirely of snow. But graupel is for another night. Tonight, we stay with the lightest clusters, the airy ones that form no crust, leave no trace. They are often the first to fall during a warm snowfall, or the last to drift as the storm moves on. They're the snowflakes that find one another mid-air, the ones that say, softly, "Let's go together." And perhaps you've had moments like that too, where you didn't need to face the sky alone, where softness met softness, and something stronger formed in the space between. So now, let yourself drift down like a cluster, not alone, not burdened, just held by softness, carried by air. You don't need to keep yourself separate tonight. Let your thoughts nestle. Let your breathing sink with the quiet. Let sleep come not as a solitary flake, but as a gentle joining, as a cluster, as rest, as snowfall made of many, falling as one. Tonight, let's explore a quiet wonder. Why do snowflakes have arms? Not arms like ours, not for holding or reaching, but delicate extensions, 6 in number, that radiate outward like stars drawn in frost. These arms, or branches, as science calls them, are not just decoration. They are a natural expression of form, a whisper from the molecular world. It begins at the smallest level with a water molecule, 2 tiny hydrogen atoms bonded to 1 oxygen. The way these molecules come together when they freeze creates a beautiful structure, a hexagon. 6 sides, 6 directions. That's where the snowflake begins. As the flake forms, more water vapor joins the original crystal. The hexagonal core begins to grow, and it does so by extending outward from its 6 corners. These are the first signs of the arms. Each arm reaches into space, collecting more vapor, drawing in moisture from the air, and freezing as it goes. And the reason each arm stays so evenly spaced? It's because they all grow under the same conditions, the same temperature, the same moisture, the same movement of air. Each branch mirrors the others. This creates the symmetry we so often see, a flake that looks like it was carved with perfect precision. But while the arms begin the same, they aren't always identical by the end. The air isn't uniform all the way down. One side may grow faster, branch differently, or encounter a subtle change in moisture. These tiny shifts give each flake its unique shape. Still, the six-armed foundation remains. It's not rigid, it's responsive, and maybe that's what makes it so beautiful. You might imagine one of these flakes forming now, a hexagon in the cold upper air. Then, slowly, one corner stretches, then another. Then all six begin to reach, not with force, but with quiet openness. The arms branch again and again into subarms and side laces, into tiny fern-like fingers. Each one is built from vapor that settles gently on its path. And though the flake never chooses its shape, it accepts what comes. It grows. It extends. It listens to the air. Perhaps you too have arms like that, not physical, but parts of you that reach into the world, into relationships, into ideas, into sleep. And maybe tonight, as you rest, you can imagine those parts softening, not reaching in strain, but growing gently outward, balanced, still, open. Let yourself become a snowflake now. Let your thoughts branch, evenly, quietly. Let your breath extend like arms into the night. Sixfold, symmetry, 6 breaths of calm, 6 reasons to rest. You don't need to do anything, only grow in your stillness, like snow does, like ice, like sky. Tonight, we arrive at a magical place in science, not a physical location, but a point of balance, a moment where water, ice, and vapor all exist together. This is known as the triple point of ice. It may sound like something sharp or cold, but in truth, it is one of the most elegant conditions nature has to offer. The triple point is a delicate combination of temperature and pressure, where the 3 states of water, solid, liquid, and gas, can coexist in perfect harmony. At this point, ice doesn't need to melt before evaporating. Water doesn't need to freeze before becoming vapor. Everything is in balance. Nothing is forced, and that balance happens at a very specific place, 0.01 degrees Celsius and 611 pascals of pressure, colder than freezing, and with lower air pressure than you'd find on a mountaintop. It's a small moment in the phase diagram of water, but it holds so much beauty. Imagine this: a single droplet of water, at just the right conditions, begins to shift. Part of it turns to ice, another part to vapor, and yet it remains whole. It's not breaking apart, it's becoming more. The triple point is used in laboratories as a standard, a pure and repeatable moment in nature. Scientists use it to calibrate instruments, but tonight we'll use it as a metaphor for rest, because, just like the triple point, you too are allowed to exist in more than one state. You can be still and changing, solid and soft, grounded and drifting. Sleep, after all, is a kind of triple point, where thought, dream, and body come together, blending and balancing in perfect calm. Snowflakes are born near this point, in clouds where conditions teeter between freezing and not. Ice crystals collect vapor directly, skipping the liquid phase entirely. And in doing so, they grow their complex shapes. It's called deposition, vapor becoming ice without becoming water first. A soft step, an elegant shortcut. It all happens because the triple point makes it possible. No stress, no resistance, just transformation. And you too are in a moment of transformation now. From wakefulness to sleep, from day to night, from motion to stillness. Let it be gentle, let it be balanced. You don't need to rush into slumber. You're allowed to float here, between phases, like ice, like vapor, like rest. Breathe in, you are water. Breathe out, you are cloud. Settle, you are ice. All at once, and beautifully whole. Settle in now, and let your breath soften. Tonight, we'll follow a quiet thread of pattern, a thread that winds through winter and appears again and again in the soft symmetry of snow. These are fractals, repeating shapes that echo themselves at every scale, and in winter's embrace, they are everywhere. You've seen them, even if you didn't have the word for it. They are in the branching of a bare tree, in the feathery veins of frost on a window pane, in the way river deltas and lightning forks mirror the branching arms of a snowflake. They are frozen fractals, and nature's favorite language for complexity. A fractal is a pattern that repeats, not with exact copies, but with echoes. Each smaller version contains the same basic shape as the larger one. It's a kind of recursive beauty. You zoom in, and the detail looks much like the whole. You zoom out, and that same pattern reappears again. Snowflakes are one of nature's most delicate fractals. Each flake begins with a hexagonal foundation, dictated by the arrangement of water molecules as they freeze. From each of the 6 corners, an arm stretches outward. But these arms don't stop. They branch again, forming smaller and smaller fingers, each one shaped by the same rules of temperature, vapor, and wind. The result is a form that's infinitely detailed and yet rooted in something simple. Fractals appear in other forms of frozen beauty too. Frost on glass often grows in fern-like patterns, long spines with curling offshoots shaped by moisture and surface texture. Icicles form subtle ridges as water refreezes in layers, echoing its own downward growth. Even glaciers, vast and slow, create patterns of crevasses and melt channels that repeat the branching rhythm of fractals. Why does nature favor this design? Because it is efficient and elegant. Fractals allow systems to grow in all directions, using simple rules to build endless complexity. They are how rivers spread, how lungs breathe, how crystals form. And in winter, they become visible, etched in ice, written in the sky. Perhaps tonight, your own thoughts echo this shape. One soft idea branching into another, then another, each thought quieter than the last, until only the pattern remains. You don't need to understand the mathematics. You only need to feel the rhythm, like a snowflake growing in slow spirals, like frost writing its signature on a window, like rest unfolding from stillness. You are part of this pattern too. Each breath, a branch; each moment, a mirror; each quiet thought, another soft echo. Let the fractal grow. Let sleep repeat itself, not with noise, but with softness, infinite, peaceful, whole. Tonight, we'll rise even higher, far above rooftops, above mountaintops, into the realm where the air is thin and the sky is very cold. This is the home of cirrus clouds, delicate, wispy veils of ice that stretch across the upper atmosphere like soft brushstrokes of light. And yes, even here, snowflakes begin. Cirrus clouds are not the thick grey blankets of winter storms. They are light, feathery, almost invisible against the blue. But don't let their softness fool you. Inside, the cold is intense, often well below -20 degrees Celsius, even colder than the layers where most snow falls. And in this frigid world, snowflake formation takes on a special character. The clouds are made entirely of ice crystals, not water droplets. There is no supercooled liquid here, only vapor and ice. And it is from this pairing that delicate crystals emerge. The process is called deposition, when water vapor turns directly into solid ice, skipping the liquid phase altogether. In the cold upper atmosphere, this transformation is calm and precise. Tiny crystals begin to grow along paths determined by temperature and moisture. They don't grow wide here. Instead, they tend to be simple, narrow forms, thin plates, slender columns, and bullet-shaped crystals. These aren't the fluffy flakes we see lower down, not yet. But they are the seeds of snowfall. Sometimes these crystals remain high in the sky, suspended in cirrus layers for hours, drifting slowly without falling. But if they grow heavy enough, or if air currents carry them lower, they may begin a descent, passing through warmer and wetter layers. And there they transform. They may collect more vapor or touch other crystals. They begin to branch, to widen, to shift from column to plate, to the classic flakes we know. But their origin story begins high in the cirrus. These clouds are often the first signal that moisture has arrived, a faint veil across the moon, a stroke of white against the blue afternoon sky. Pilots see them often, so do early risers, and those who love to watch the weather in silence. There's something poetic about knowing that snowflakes, so tangible, so present on your coat or glove, began their journey in a world so far above, so quiet and untouched. They were born in the breath of the sky, in the loftiest chambers of cold. You might imagine it now, drifting weightless within a cirrus cloud, surrounded by crystals suspended in time. There's no sound here, no urgency, just soft motion, pale light, and cold so clean it almost glows. And in that stillness, a flake begins. Not all cirrus clouds bring snow. Many stay high and fade into sky, but those that do so gently. They begin the quiet chain of transformation, from crystal to flake, from sky to earth. And you, listening now, are part of that journey too. Let your thoughts drift higher. Let your breath become thinner, lighter, colder, until you feel yourself floating in that soft cirrus world, not needing to fall, only to form. The sky is making snow again, and it's starting with stillness. Tonight, we sink into softness, the kind that falls without a sound, the kind that whispers against your coat, the kind that vanishes at a touch. This is powder snow, dry, delicate, and light as breath. Not all snow is powdery. Some arrives wet and sticky, clinging to rooftops and weighing down branches. But powder falls like dust from the sky. It swirls with the slightest breeze, forming soft drifts that rise and roll like dunes of frost. But what makes snow powdery? It all begins in the sky, in cold, calm places where the air is dry and the temperature stays well below freezing, usually around 14 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 10 degrees Celsius, or colder. In these conditions, the snowflakes that form are light and airy, often wide, branching dendrites with delicate arms and lots of open space. There's little moisture to melt or bind them, so when they fall, they stay separate, crystal beside crystal, like feathers settling into a pillow. Each flake holds its shape. Each one lands without merging. The result is snow that's loose, dry, and easy to stir. Skiers call it champagne powder. Meteorologists call it low-density snow. But to us, it's simply soft. You've likely seen it after a deep freeze. Snow that floats when you walk, that slips off tree limbs in a puff, that glows in the sunlight like scattered salt. And when you scoop it up, it barely holds. No snowballs, no packing. Just a cloud of flakes. This is snow at its gentlest. The reason lies in humidity and temperature. Cold air holds less moisture. So, flakes forming in dry, cold clouds tend to grow wide but thin, with fewer molecules of water, but more branching. Their low weight and airy structure keep them from compacting easily on the ground. By contrast, snow that forms closer to freezing gathers more water as it falls, and that water creates bonding. the flakes grow stickier. They clump. They press together into heavier snow. But powder snow doesn't press. It floats. It invites drifting. Light winds can carry it sideways, creating swirls that dance across open fields or gather in soft hills. It doesn't make a sound when it falls, and when it lands, it muffles everything beneath it. It is snow in its quietest form. Imagine now walking through a powdery snowfall, each flake brushing your coat like silk. Not clinging, not soaking, just resting. You hear nothing, only your own breathing, only the soft crunch of boots in dry snow. Maybe even that fades. Powder snow has a way of making the world feel further away, like the volume has been turned down, like even your thoughts are softer under it. And as you lie still now, perhaps you can imagine your breath falling like powder, each exhale light and free, each thought drifting slowly down. You are allowed to be light. You are allowed to scatter. You are allowed to land gently. Tonight, your thoughts do not need to stick. Let them fall and let them go, like powder from the sky, unburdened, bright, free. Tonight, we welcome the most beloved snowfall, the kind that makes you smile from the window, that turns trees into storybook shapes and blankets rooftops like whipped cream. This is fluffy snow, the softest form of winter's gift. Fluffy snow feels light, but it carries a quiet complexity, a delicate combination of shape, temperature, and structure that creates the illusion of softness. So what makes snow fluffy? The secret lies in air. Fluffy snow is mostly space. A single flake, wide, feathered, and branched, contains more empty air than frozen water. When these flakes fall in calm, cold air, they keep their lacy structures. They don't melt, they don't bond, they simply pile gently. The result is snow with a low snow-to-water ratio, meaning you get a lot of snow, but not much actual water content. Often, this ratio is 15:1 or even 20:1. That is, 20 inches of fluffy snow may melt into only 1 inch of liquid water. This kind of snow is dry, light, and soft to the touch. It squeaks underfoot in the cold. It shimmers more easily in sunlight. And when you try to scoop it, it slips through your fingers like dust. It forms best when surface temperatures hover around 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit, -12 to -9 degrees Celsius. And the snowfall arrives through slow, steady clouds, like nimbostratus or layered stratiform clouds that cradle flakes in stillness. Inside these clouds, the flakes don't rush to the ground. They float, they take their time, and in doing so, they stay open, wide, airy, gentle. Fluffy snow isn't just about the flake shape, it's also about how the flakes land. Because they're not wet, they don't press together. Because the air is cold, they don't melt. So, instead of compacting, they nest, like feathers, like down, like breath made visible. And that's what gives fluffy snow its magical texture. The way it sits on pine branches without slipping. The way it piles on railings like sponge cake. The way it forms snowdrifts that look like meringue or soft serve. When the wind is calm, this snow creates a perfect silence. Even the trees seem to hold their breath beneath it. There's a reason poets write about this kind of snow. There's a reason you feel something when it falls. It transforms the familiar world into something hushed, something forgiving. And tonight, it invites you to become fluffy too, to let go of heaviness, to fill your thoughts with space and softness, to settle without pressure. Maybe you imagine yourself as a flake, wide, light, gently turning through quiet air. No hurry, no melting, just descent. And as you land on a rooftop, a pillow, a hillside, you do so with no weight, only form, only breath, only the fluff of sleep approaching. Let your body loosen, let your mind fluff out, let each thought grow lighter until it lifts away. And know that softness is enough. You are falling, like fluffy snow, and rest is where you land. Tonight, we journey to the edge of great inland waters, where the wind carries more than just cold. Here, the snow doesn't always fall from vast storm systems. Sometimes, it is born from a single breath of wind crossing a lake. This is lake effect snow, a quiet alchemy of water, wind, and winter. It begins when cold, dry air moves across the surface of a relatively warmer lake. The lake, still holding some of autumn's heat, offers up moisture. The air above it becomes unstable, warming slightly from below, rising and pulling lake water with it in the form of invisible vapor. As this moist air continues across the lake, it rises higher and higher, carried by thermal lift. The higher it rises, the colder it becomes, and eventually, clouds form. Within these narrow, tall clouds, often just a few miles wide, snow begins to fall. This isn't a wide-spreading snowstorm. Lake effect snow is focused, localized. It can snow on one side of a street, while the other remains dry. It all depends on the wind, how it moves, where it goes, how long it travels over the lake's open water. The longer that cold air moves across the lake, the more moisture it gathers, and the heavier the snow becomes when it finally falls on land. This is why lake effect snow is most common along the eastern and southern shores of large lakes, like the Great Lakes in North America. And when it falls, it can fall deeply, not in a rush or roar, but in a steady, persistent hush. The kind that lasts for hours, even days, forming snowdrifts taller than fences and soft blankets over entire neighborhoods. There's something beautifully rhythmic about it. The way nature takes a deep breath, wind crossing water, and exhales snow onto the land. You might imagine it now, a cold wind skating across a wide, silver lake. The water steams in the morning light, mist rising like quiet smoke. Overhead, clouds begin to stretch, long and narrow bands reaching inland. And then, the snow begins. Not loud, not fast, just endless. The world becomes a snow globe, shaken slowly, endlessly drifting. What makes lake effect snow feel special is how personal it is. It doesn't blanket regions like a massive storm system might. It chooses small pockets, a village here, a street there, sometimes only a hilltop, and then it moves on. But its softness lingers. Tonight, as you rest, perhaps you imagine yourself beneath one of these snow bands, tucked inside a home warmed by a small fire, watching the flakes collect quietly outside. You are not in the storm. You are in the stillness that snow brings. Let your breath be the lake. Let your thoughts be the cold wind crossing it. Let your dreams rise like vapor and fall slowly as snow. Lake effect snow reminds us, small movements can create deep beauty. A single current can carry softness far, and the quietest storms are often the most generous. So drift now, with the snow, with the wind, with the lake. Tonight, we drift farther north, far beyond forests, beyond towns and tree lines, into the Arctic, where the air is thin and ancient, and the snow wears silence like a crown. You might expect that this place, so cold, so remote, would receive heavy, endless snow. But the Arctic has its own rhythm, its own quiet rules. In truth, snowfall in the Arctic is often light, not in frequency, but in amount. The air is so cold, so dry, that Large snowstorms are rare. Instead, snow arrives in small flurries, in whispering veils, in gentle grains carried by long, low winds. The Arctic is a desert, not of sand, but of precipitation. Some areas receive no more annual snow than a temperate city might see in a single winter month. But when it does snow, it stays. There's little melting, little shifting. Flakes that fell years ago may still linger, layered beneath newer dustings. This creates an almost timeless snowpack, a slow-building archive of winters past. Each snowfall here is a note in a long song, soft verses sung by the sky, recorded in layers of ice. The snow in the Arctic behaves differently too. Because of the cold, the flakes are often simple in shape, columns, plates, and compact crystals, born from air too frigid for branching. And once they land, the low temperatures and persistent winds begin to sculpt them. Over time, the snow transforms into a hard, wind-blown surface called föhn. Not yet. Glacier ice, but no longer fresh snow. It sparkles, but it crunches underfoot. It drifts into long, low waves, called sastrugi, shaped by endless wind. You might picture them now, frozen ripples across a pale white sea. Even in such a remote place, the snow has character. It listens to the air. It remembers what came before. And when it falls, it does so gently, often beneath a sky of pale blue or deep Arctic night. In summer, the snow lingers. In winter, it thickens. And though the Arctic is vast and still, the snow is always moving in small, imperceptible ways, compacting, settling, becoming part of the great icy breath of the pole. Imagine yourself here now, if you wish, wrapped in layers, standing beneath a silent sky. Snow drifts around your boots. The wind hums like a lullaby from another time. There are no cities here, no voices, only the long breath of snow and ice. And yet, there is peace. The Arctic teaches us that snowfall doesn't have to be loud or large. It can arrive in whispers. It can last without needing attention. It can shape a world, slowly, quietly. You too can rest like Arctic snow, not rushing to settle, not needing to be noticed, just being, layer by layer, moment by moment. Let the cold cradle you. Let the snow cover your thoughts, and drift now into deep Arctic stillness, into ancient peace, into sleep. Tonight, we rise again, higher than mountains, higher than most clouds, into the lofty reaches where the sky is coldest and the air is thin. Here, above 20,000 feet, ice takes on new forms, shaped not just by cold, but by altitude itself. These are the high-altitude crystals, born in the upper layers of the troposphere, and sometimes drifting into the stratosphere. They are smaller than the snowflakes we catch on our gloves, simpler, sharper, and yet just as beautiful. At these heights, cirrus clouds stretch across the sky like threads of silk. Within them, tiny ice crystals form in air so dry and cold, it seems almost outside time. Temperatures here may fall below -40 degrees Celsius, and at that threshold, strange things happen. Vapor does not become liquid. It skips straight into ice, a process called deposition, and the crystals that form do so in simple, elegant shapes: slender columns, flat hexagonal plates, tiny bullets, and sometimes even rosettes, clusters of needles that radiate like a frozen starburst. Unlike lower altitude snowflakes, these crystals don't grow large or elaborate. There isn't enough moisture here. Instead, they remain tiny and pristine, often invisible to the eye unless they catch the light just right. Sometimes they do. When high sun angles and the perfect orientation align, these crystals create halos, sundogs, and pillars of light. Optical wonders that float beside the sun or moon. Light bends through their hexagonal shapes, refracting into arcs, rings, and softly glowing companions in the sky. It's snow, painting, light. And though these crystals may never reach the ground, they leave their mark. High-altitude ice plays a role in weather patterns, jet stream interactions, and even the formation of precipitation lower down. They are messengers from the upper atmosphere, quiet architects of cloud and storm. You might picture one now, a single crystal, tiny and clear, forming in silence above the world. It drifts slowly, lightly, too high to fall quickly. It joins others in a cirrus veil, and together they shimmer. There's something peaceful about that image, that even so far above, so far from sound, from warmth, from earth, beauty still forms. No need for complexity, no need for crowd or chaos, just shape, just ice, just presence. Tonight, let your thoughts rise there. Let your breath become thin and slow. Let your mind become sky. You don't need to be intricate tonight. You don't need to branch or swirl. You only need to be a single, simple crystal. High, above, floating, whole. Let's return now to where snowflakes begin. Not with ice, not even with water, but with something smaller, something quieter. This is the story of the ice nucleus, the tiny seed at the heart of nearly every snowflake. Without it, there would be no crystal, no flake, no snowfall, only invisible vapor drifting through cold air. But when just the right particle is present, small, solid, and ready, something beautiful begins. An ice nucleus can be a mote of dust, a speck of pollen, a fragment of volcanic ash, or even a microscopic piece of ocean salt. These tiny particles float freely in the atmosphere, carried by winds for thousands of miles. When supercooled water vapor finds them, it clings, freezes, begins to grow. This first contact, where vapor turns to solid, is how a snowflake is born. You might imagine it like planting a seed in the sky. The ice nucleus is the seed, the vapor is the soil, and the cold is the quiet gardener. From this single point, a snow crystal begins to grow outward, atom by atom, molecule by molecule, slowly forming arms, edges, symmetry. But not every particle becomes a nucleus. It must have the right structure, one that mimics the spacing of ice molecules, allowing the first layer of water to freeze upon it. Only a small percentage of atmospheric particles are capable of this. These are called ice nucleating particles. They don't just start snowflakes. They shape clouds. They influence precipitation. They help determine whether clouds remain as mist or bloom into storms. In this way, the smallest things affect the largest. A single grain of dust, creating snowfall that blankets a valley. A fragment of plant matter, birthing flakes that drift across an entire forest. There's something comforting in that, isn't there? That even something tiny, something unseen, can begin a whole world of softness. Tonight, let your thoughts be like vapor, suspended and weightless. Let the seed of calm, small and still, begin to shape them. You don't need to be the storm. You only need to be the beginning. The ice nucleus doesn't force anything. It doesn't shout. It simply waits. And when the air is ready, when the sky is cold and still, the snow begins. You too are allowed to begin slowly, to shape your rest from stillness. Let the snowflake build within you. Let the calm crystallize. Let sleep grow from a single, quiet center. Like a flake, like a whisper, like winter becoming. Tonight, we meet a snowflake that's been touched by cloud, not once, but again and again. until its form softens and its edges blur. This is the rimed snowflake, a flake adorned not with sharp arms and crisp lace, but with frost gathered along its journey. To understand rimming, we drift into a cloud, a cold one, thick with tiny supercooled water droplets, liquid water suspended below freezing, waiting, watching, ready to change. When a snowflake floats through such a cloud, these droplets collide with it, and instead of bouncing off or soaking in, they freeze on contact, coating the flake in a soft outer layer of ice. Little by little, droplet by droplet, the snowflake becomes rimed. The arms lose their detail, the branches round out. The flake begins to look puffier, less star-like, more like a snow-covered seed. And yet, it is still snow, still falling, still beautiful. The amount of rimming depends on the path the flake takes, how many droplets it meets, how long it spends inside the moist cloud, how fast it moves. Sometimes, just a light dusting of rime forms, a delicate frosting on the flake. Other times, the flake becomes entirely encased, transformed into a small, soft ball of ice called graupel. Graupel is often mistaken for sleet or hail, but it is neither. It is snow that's been wrapped in cloud. You might imagine it now, a snowflake floating gently downward, passing through a fog of invisible droplets. One by one, they find it. They cling, they freeze, they soften its shape. And by the time it reaches the ground, it is something new, not broken, not melted, but changed. There is something gentle in this transformation. The flake does not resist. It allows itself to be touched, to be reshaped, to carry the memory of the cloud with it. We often think of snowflakes as fragile, but rimed snowflakes show us something else, that softness can also be strong, that change can be tender, that becoming something different can still be beautiful. Tonight, perhaps your thoughts are like snowflakes, beginning in clarity, then slowly being wrapped in softness, coated in rest. Let them blur at the edges. Let them grow quiet and round. Let them fall through cloud. You don't need to hold your shape. You don't need to be sharp tonight. Let the mist find you. Let the quiet coat you. Let your dreams rim you in calm and drift, like snow, like graupel, like rest reshaped. Snow doesn't simply fall. It travels through layer upon layer of air, each with its own breath, its own temperature, its own quiet influence. Tonight, we explore these atmospheric layers and how they shape the journey of every snowflake. From the moment a snowflake begins, crystallizing on a speck of dust or salt, it enters a vertical world where every layer adds something new. The troposphere, the lowest layer of the atmosphere, is where all weather happens. It stretches from the surface to around 7 to 10 miles high. Within it are currents, temperature bands, and pockets of moisture, each one sculpting the snowflake as it falls. High up, near the top of the troposphere, the air is cold and dry. Here, snowflakes are born with simple shapes, columns, plates, or pristine stars, formed by deposition from water vapor. As the flake begins to descend, it may pass through a layer that's slightly warmer, just enough to cause the edges to melt a little, rounding out the arms, blurring the detail. Then, it might fall into colder air again, where those melted parts refreeze, adding bumps or ridges to the original shape. These alternating layers of warm and cold, sometimes only a few 100 feet thick, can radically change the flake's structure, from lacy to rimed, from sharp to soft, from star to cluster. If the flake passes through a band of supercooled droplets, it may collect rime. If it falls with other flakes, they may combine to form aggregates. And if, near the ground, the air becomes too warm, the flake may melt completely, becoming rain instead. But when conditions align, when cold layers stack in harmony and moisture flows just right, the flake remains intact. It touches down on Earth as the very same crystal that began its journey high above. You might imagine this descent now, a flake born in stillness, falling slowly through one layer, then another, each one shaping its form, not with force, but with quiet guidance. The sky is not one thing, it is a stacked library of motion and temperature, and the flake reads every page on its way down. Perhaps you felt something like this, moving through layers of your own, layers of thought, of feeling, of rest, some warm, some cool, some soft, some silent, and like the flake, you are shaped by them all. Tonight, let yourself drift through your own atmosphere, each breath a different layer, each moment a different wind. You don't need to land quickly, you don't need to hold your shape, just fall gently through the sky of yourself, layer by layer, thought by thought, and when you touch down, let it be soft, let it be still, let it be snow. Tonight, we drift with a snowflake, not just in its fall, but in its fading. For not every snowflake that begins its descent from the sky reaches the ground in the same form, or at all. Some melt, some merge, and some evaporate. This gentle vanishing is part of the snowflake's quiet story, a process known as sublimation or evaporation, where a solid ice crystal transforms directly into vapor, skipping the liquid phase entirely. It happens high in the atmosphere, where the air is dry and thin, and the snowflake, delicate as breath, begins to shrink before our eyes, though no one sees it. Imagine it now, a beautiful, branching crystal, freshly formed, drifting downward through a cold, quiet sky. But the air it enters is thirsty, low in moisture, dry like a hushed exhale, and that dry air begins to pull. Bit by bit, molecule by molecule, the snowflake loses mass. Its intricate edges round off, its arms shorten, its sparkle dims, and yet there is no violence in this loss. No break, no fall, only soft undoing. This is evaporative shrinkage, a slow unraveling, where the snowflake's water content returns to the invisible world of vapor. No melting, no dripping, just departure. It's not failure, it's transformation. This process is especially common in Virga, those ghostly streaks of snow or rain you may see falling from clouds but never touching the ground. They vanish mid-air, a beautiful disappearing act. Snowflakes are vulnerable to evaporation when they pass through dry air layers on their way down. Even when temperatures are well below freezing, the lack of humidity can cause them to shrink and eventually sublimate completely, never reaching the earth. It's a reminder that the journey of a snowflake is never guaranteed, but even when it vanishes, it becomes something else: vapor, mist, memory. You might picture it now, a flake drifting lower, smaller, simpler, until finally it is gone, but not lost, only changed. Its moisture may rise again, join another cloud, form another flake, fall once more, and so the cycle continues. Perhaps tonight you feel your own thoughts softening in this way, not breaking, but gently thinning, becoming lighter, quieter. Let them shrink without fear. Let your worries evaporate into air. They do not need to land to be meaningful. They can rise and return. Rest too can come like this, not in one clear moment, but gradually, as thoughts grow smaller, and you dissolve into sleep, like vapor, like snow, like breath. Tonight, we wander somewhere unexpected, not to mountains or tundras, but to the quiet, sun-colored stretches of desert. Here, where sand and stone meet wide sky, where rain is rare and heat defines the day, something unusual sometimes happens. It snows. Yes, in deserts. Though dry and often warm, many deserts cool dramatically at night, especially in winter. And when cold air flows in, and moisture manages to arrive, perhaps from a distant ocean or a high-pressure shift, the desert can receive snow. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it feels like a dream. Imagine the Sahara, powdered white, sand dunes draped in frost, camel tracks softened by flakes, or the Sonoran Desert with saguaro cacti wearing small white caps, their green arms reaching into snow-filled air. Or the Atacama, one of the driest places on Earth, briefly touched by a snowfall so rare that it becomes legend. These snows are usually light, an inch here, a dusting there. They fall quickly and melt by midday, but their beauty lies in contrast. Warm coloured ground beneath pale sky, a stillness deeper than silence, the moment where dryness meets sky-born softness. What makes desert snowfall possible? It's all about the right timing. The desert floor, though hot by day, releases heat quickly after sunset. Nights can be freezing, especially in high elevation deserts, where the air is thin and cold arrives swiftly. If a moist air mass enters during this time, even one with very low water content, clouds may form. And if conditions align just so, snowflakes begin to fall. Because the air is dry, the flakes often sublimate on the way down, shrinking before they land. But when the cold is deep enough, they reach the surface, and for a few hours, the desert becomes a world remade. There is something sacred in this fleeting white, as if the sky has whispered to the ground, rest. Even animals pause. Tracks left in snow mark gentle lives rarely seen, and plants, built for heat, stand quietly beneath this soft surprise. You might imagine it now, a desert valley at dawn, rocky hillsides still in shadow, and a thin white covering, glowing pink beneath the rising sun. It will not last, but that's part of its peace. It doesn't need to endure to matter. It only needs to fall. And you too may feel like a desert tonight, worn from the sun, cracked with thought, dry from long days. But here comes the snow, brief, cooling, enough. Let it touch you. Let it coat your thoughts. Let it melt and leave calm behind. Snow in the desert reminds us, softness can come where we least expect it. Rest can arrive even in barren places. Peace is not reserved for the usual spaces, so breathe in now, air as wide as desert sky, and breathe out, a snowfall that surprises the soul. You are allowed to be quiet, to be changed, to be snow in sand. Tonight, we explore something you've seen, but may not have paused to ask, why is snow white? And why, when the light is just right, do its shadows appear blue? Snow is more than a blanket. It's a canvas for light. When snow falls, it seems colourless, a softer dusting of purity, of hush. But snow is not colourless at all. It's white, because it's made of countless tiny mirrors. Each snowflake, a crystal of ice, has many flat surfaces, each one catching and reflecting light. When sunlight hits a snowy field, that light scatters in all directions. It isn't absorbed, it's bounced. And because sunlight contains all the colours of the spectrum, snow reflects them all together. When our eyes see every colour at once, we perceive it as white. But snow isn't just white. Not always. At dawn and dusk, when the sun hangs low, snow may glow gold or pink, echoing the sky above. And at night, under moonlight, it becomes silver, a soft, cool sheen, like quiet frost glow. And then there are the shadows. Have you noticed? The shadows on snow aren't black or grey. They are blue, gentle and deep, like watercolour painted across the white. This happens because of the way blue wavelengths of light scatter through the atmosphere. When sunlight enters snow and bounces between the crystals, it absorbs the longer, redder wavelengths. But blue light travels farther and emerges more visibly from beneath the surface. The result is subtle, but unmistakable. Blue in the hollows, blue in the drifted curves, blue where your footsteps fell hours ago. It's the kind of beauty that rewards stillness, the kind you only notice when you stop, breathe, and look. Perhaps tonight you picture it, a snow-covered field under a and pale winter sun, the surface glowing white, but the folds and footprints filled with soft, serene blue. There's a silence in that light, a pause. It feels like the world has taken a breath and is holding it, just long enough for you to rest inside it. And just as snow holds all the colours, you too can hold many states at once. Brightness, shadow, warmth, cool. You are not just one thing. You are a spectrum, a reflection of your own sky. Let the snow teach you how to scatter light. Let it show you how to soften shadows. You do not need to shine, only to reflect. Let the white surround you. Let the blue cradle you. And sleep now, beneath the colour of snow. Somewhere, beneath a microscope, a snowflake becomes a cathedral. Tonight, we explore a quiet art, the science and wonder of snow crystal photography. It begins with stillness, a cold window, a flake barely landed, not yet melted, and a photographer with patience, and a lens tuned to frost. Snowflake photography isn't new. The first known images were captured in the late 1800s by Wilson Bentley, a Vermont farmer with a microscope and a dream. They called him Snowflake Bentley. Bentley was the first to prove what people had long believed, that no two snowflakes are exactly alike. And he did so with thousands of images, each one delicate, crystalline, and fleeting. He worked outside, catching flakes on black velvet to preserve their form. He worked in storms, in silence, and with great care. Modern snow crystal photographers use high-powered lenses, freezing stages, and digital cameras. Some even use dark field illumination, a technique that makes the crystals glow softly against black, as if lit from within. But the principle remains the same. Catch the flake before it melts. It must be cold, it must be quiet, and the photographer must move gently, like snow itself. What they capture is astonishing. Some flakes are wide, with arms like filigree. Others are tight, neat stars. Some appear broken, rimed, clustered, but all are real. All are ice. All are nature's briefest sculpture. You might imagine it now, a flake falling, landing softly on velvet, its arms outstretched, unmoving. The camera draws close. Click, and a tiny universe is preserved, forever. In that image, you see time, temperature, humidity, all written in geometry. Each flake tells the story of the air it passed through, the stillness, the drift, the delicate dance of vapor turned to form. To photograph a snowflake is to capture a breath made visible, to catch the cold before it vanishes. And perhaps it's also a kind of reverence, a way of saying this moment mattered, even though it melted, even though it was small. Tonight, you might think of your own passing thoughts that way. Tiny, brief, beautiful. You don't need to hold on to them forever, but you can observe, you can honor, you can let them fall and fade, like a flake, like a picture, like peace. Let your mind become the camera now. Let stillness become your lens. See your thoughts without judging. Catch them, just long enough to notice. Then let them melt. The flake will fall again. The image will return. But for now, you can rest, wrapped in crystal silence. You are enough. You are snow. And sleep is the photograph of peace. Tonight, we turn our gaze from the sky to the ground, to the quiet world that snow creates after it falls, to what lies beneath your boots, beneath the trees, beneath the hush. This is the snowpack, a layered memory of winter's breath. Each snowfall becomes a page in this frozen book. One layer drifts onto the next, light upon heavy, fluffy upon dense, crystals pressed gently together over time. What starts as soft powder begins to change. The flakes settle, they shift, the intricate arms break, the air between them is pressed out, and the snow becomes compacted, not gone, just closer. This is the beginning of depth. Snow depth is the simple measurement of how much snow is on the ground. It may vary from inch to foot, from drift to crust. You can measure it with a stick, but snowpack is more than depth. It is structure. It is layers, each one telling a story of the sky above. Some layers are light and airy, some are icy and hard, some sparkle with surface hoar, feather-like frost that forms on top after cold, clear nights. Some are wet and heavy, formed during warmer days. As temperatures change, the snow within the pack shifts again. Warm days cause melting. Cold nights cause refreezing. This creates layers of crust. And beneath those crusts, insulating pockets of still cold snow remain. If the snowpack remains all winter, these layers build until the forest floor or mountainside holds weeks, even months of weather, pressed into silence. In the spring, this snowpack becomes a reservoir, a slow-release gift. As it melts, it feeds rivers, streams, and thirsty roots. But even before the melt, snowpack provides insulation. It keeps the ground from freezing too deeply. It shelters small animals, protects roots, quiets the soil. And so, what seems like a blanket is also a shield, a quiet guardian of the world beneath it. You might imagine it now, a deep forest floor covered in 3 feet of snow. The top sparkles in moonlight. The middle layers are dense and still. And at the bottom, warmth lingers just enough for life to hide and wait. Like thoughts beneath blankets, like dreams beneath sleep. Tonight, your mind might feel layered too, your day piled upon itself. Memories, emotions, ideas, settling softly. Let them rest, let them compact, let them be snowpack. You don't need to dig through them. You don't need to clear them all away. Just know, what's beneath can be safe. What's within can be warm. What you carry can be quiet. Breathe in, feel the depth. Breathe out, feel the stillness. You are held by winter now, and sleep is snow building in silence. Tonight, we turn to 2 cousins of the snowflake. Less famous, less photographed, but no less fascinating. Graupel and sleet, precipitation born of snow, touched by cloud and temperature, shaped by transformation. Let's begin with Graupel. Graupel starts its life as a snowflake, an intricate, 6-armed crystal floating gently downward. But then it drifts through a cloud heavy with supercooled water droplets. Tiny bits of water, still liquid, even though the temperature is below freezing. These droplets collide with the snowflake and freeze instantly. They coat it in soft layers of rime ice, droplet by droplet, until the original flake is no longer visible. What falls to earth is a small, soft pellet, round, opaque, crumbly. Grapple looks like tiny balls of styrofoam. It feels soft when it hits your glove, and when you squeeze it, it falls apart. Snow, with a cloud's touch. You might hear it bounce off your hood. Tap, tap, tap. Light and quick, but never sharp. Grapple is a fleeting thing. It melts easily. It doesn't pack, and it rarely lasts long on the ground. Now, let's meet sleet. Sleet also begins as snow, but its journey is different. Instead of gathering rime, it passes through a warm layer of air on its way down, just warm enough to melt it into a raindrop. But then, below that layer, it hits cold air again, and in that final stretch, before reaching the earth, the raindrop refreezes. What falls is a tiny ball of ice, clear, hard, and cold. Sleet bounces when it lands. It sounds like glass beads on windows. It can form thin, slick coatings on roads and steps. It's heavier than snow and sharper than grapple. Both grapple and sleet are transitions, moments in between. Snow touched by warmth, touched by water, touched by change. And still, they fall. They remind us that winter has many forms. Not just flakes, not just powder, but all the states between. You might imagine them now. Grapple drifting like sugar through the air, light and soft. Sleet falling like silver pinpricks, clear and quick. One quiet, one sharp. Both beautiful. And maybe tonight you feel this too. Layers within yourself. Some softening, some cooling, some bouncing gently off the surface of sleep. Let them fall. Let them land. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to be clear. Let grapple tap you into stillness. Let sleet carry your thoughts away. And rest now, in the sound of quiet winter. Tonight, we look closely, not with urgency, but with wonder. We turn our gaze inward, into the heart of a snowflake, into its structure, its symmetry, its frozen logic. This is the world of crystallography, the study of crystals, and how atoms arrange themselves into patterns of quiet perfection. A snowflake is a crystal. More specifically, it is a crystal of ice. Its shape is not random, not guessed, but written by rules that govern how water molecules align as they freeze. At the molecular level, water is simple. 2 hydrogen atoms joined to 1 oxygen. But when it freezes, it arranges itself in a precise way, a lattice of hexagons. 6-fold symmetry. Each molecule bonds to its neighbors at consistent angles, forming repeating units, like tiny frozen tiles, in a pattern that stretches outward. The result is a structure that builds from the center out, growing arms that echo the same angles, the same spacing, the same balance. This is why snowflakes have 6 arms, why their beauty feels so mathematical, because it is. And yet, no 2 are the same. Even though every snowflake begins with the same blueprint, its journey alters its final form. Humidity, temperature, wind, each one leaves a fingerprint. Still, beneath the variation, the crystal's foundation remains true, hexagonal, orderly, strong. Crystallographers study snow under microscopes, with light angled just so that each ridge and edge becomes visible, a frozen language etched in air. They measure angles, map ridges, and name types. Dendrites, plates, columns, needles, each with subcategories and unique branching behavior. But beyond labels, there is awe, because inside each flake is a story of order meeting chaos, a tiny structure that grows in response to randomness and still manages to keep its pattern. It is geometry shaped by weather, symmetry softened by wind. Perhaps tonight your thoughts feel scattered, but even they may have a structure underneath, a quiet framework waiting to be noticed. Let them be like snow crystals, forming slowly, extending gently, balanced but not identical. You don't need to control each shape. You only need to trust the pattern within. Like snow, you are building outward from something constant. A quiet center, a breath, a rhythm. Let your sleep grow like a flake, from the core to the branches to stillness. Snow falls and melts. It flows, evaporates, rises, and becomes snow again. Tonight, we follow this gentle rhythm, the snow cycle, a chapter within the greater story of water. It begins in the sky. High in clouds, water vapor cools and condenses. Ice crystals form, delicate hexagons, floating freely. Snowflakes. They fall to earth, soft and slow, covering fields and rooftops, forests and roads. Some snow sublimates, turning directly from solid into vapor, rising invisibly back into the air. Some snow melts, turning into droplets that soak into the soil, or join with others to become rivulets, then streams, then rivers. This melted snow, called snowmelt, feeds aquifers and lakes, travels through watersheds, and quenches both tree roots and city pipes. In spring, the snowpack melts faster, driven by warming sun and longer days. The rivers run fuller. Water flows from mountaintop to valley. Some of it evaporates. Some is absorbed. Some is carried far, far away, back to the ocean. There, warmed by the sun, it rises once again into vapor, and the cycle continues. This is the snow cycle, a looping transformation, where snow is never lost, only changed. It moves through 4 phases: solid as snow, liquid as meltwater, vapor as cloud, and back again. Every stage is quiet. Every shift is soft. No urgency, only motion. And in this cycle, snow becomes a teacher, showing us that change can be circular, that endings can also be beginnings. It's comforting, isn't it? To know that even after the flake melts, its essence continues. It rises again, falls again, like breath, like thought, like sleep. Some snow may stay longer, caught in a glacier, compressed over years into ice. But even then, it moves. It flows. Eventually, it returns. You might picture it now, a single snowflake landing on a mountain. Months later, it melts. It joins a stream. It flows through fields and forests. It reaches the ocean, and then it rises back into the sky, not gone, just elsewhere. Perhaps tonight, your own thoughts are like snow, falling, melting, flowing away. Let them go, let them return. The snow cycle reminds us. You don't have to stay still to be whole. You don't have to resist change to be beautiful. You are allowed to move, to transform, to rest. And so, tonight, as you close your eyes, feel the rhythm of snow within you. A cycle of calm, a loop of softness. Fall, melt, drift, begin again. Tonight, we drift back in time. Through the centuries, through old weather journals and faded parchment, to explore how snow has shaped our understanding of the sky. Long before radar, before satellites, even before the thermometer, snow was one of the most visible signs of changing weather. It fell silently, and people watched. They listened, they took notes. In early civilizations, snow was both mystery and message. Ancient Chinese and Greek observers wrote of unusual snows, blankets that came too early or fell too late. Their records, hand-scribed and preserved in scrolls, offer us glimpses into winters long past. The Japanese haiku poets captured snowfall in verse, not as data, but as feeling. A weather event not measured, but felt, as silence, as stillness, as soft interruption. In Europe, the Little Ice Age, a period of colder climate from roughly the 14th to 19th centuries, brought more frequent and severe snowstorms. Painters captured frozen rivers. Writers described deep drifts along London streets. Children skated on the Thames. And snowfall became more than beauty. It became hardship and record. Farmers observed patterns. They noticed how early snow hinted at long winters, how heavy snowpack fed the rivers in spring. They became, in their way, meteorologists of the land. By the 1800s, snow was no longer just weather, it was data. Scientists like Wilson Bentley, who photographed snowflakes in astonishing detail, opened a new chapter: snow as science, as structure, as language. Bentley wasn't alone. Other early meteorologists recorded snow depth, timing, accumulation. They drew the first snowfall maps. They began to ask questions. Why does snow fall heavier in some places? Why are no two flakes alike? How can snowstorms be predicted? These questions led to models, to tools, to satellites. And yet, even now, we still rely on snowfall to teach us. Heavy snow in history often marked turning points, battles delayed, cities transformed, entire migrations rerouted by the white stillness. In journals from explorers, we read of snowstorms that halted expeditions, of flakes falling over unfamiliar mountains, of boots sinking deep in unmapped drifts. Each record adds to our understanding. Each snow event, remembered, becomes part of the great atmospheric story. And perhaps tonight, you feel a part of that timeline. Not as a scientist or observer, but simply as someone beneath the sky. Snow continues to fall, to whisper, to write its presence in stillness. You don't need to record it. You only need to feel it. Let yourself become part of meteorological history tonight, not as a name in a journal, but as a still point in a long, snowy story. The sky is always watching, and snow always falling. Tonight, we travel to the ends of the earth, to the great white expanses, where snow becomes something more. Not just a fleeting blanket, but a continent of ice. We enter the world of polar snow and ice sheets, vast regions where snow doesn't melt at spring, but lingers, compacts, grows. In Antarctica and Greenland, snowfall accumulates year after year. It presses downward under its own weight, layer upon layer of frozen memory. And over centuries, even millennia, this snow becomes ice, glacial ice, ice sheet. Imagine it now. Each snowfall a whisper, each layer a line in a frozen book. Over time, the whispers deepen, the lines grow thick. Ice sheets are not passive. They are slow-moving giants, rivers of ancient snow creeping toward the sea. Antarctica holds the largest ice sheet on Earth, covering nearly 14 million square kilometers. Greenland's is smaller, but no less vital. Together, they contain over 99% of the world's freshwater ice. And it all begins with snow, a single flake falling, then another, then billions more. What makes polar snow different is not its shape, but its persistence. Temperatures stay so cold, so far below freezing, that snow never fully melts. Instead, it transforms, first into firn, a granular, compact snow. Then, over decades, into glacial ice, clear and blue and ancient. Scientists drill deep into these layers, extracting ice cores, long cylinders of frozen time. Inside them are tiny air bubbles, preserved from thousands of years ago. Through them, we learn about past climates. We listen to the breath of ancient atmospheres. The snow, it turns out, remembers. Each layer marks a year. Each change in crystal shape tells a story of temperature, of wind, of time. The surface of polar snow is soft, windswept, often sculpted into low ridges called sastrugi. They rise and fall like waves, shaped not by water, but by endless wind and light. And beneath them, ice moves. very slowly, but always forward. Even now, Antarctica's ice sheet feeds floating ice shelves. Glaciers inch toward the sea, and though the surface seems still, beneath is motion, measured in centimeters, but powerful across eons. You might imagine it now, a world so white it feels like silence, where the snow beneath your feet fell before human memory and has never left. There is humility in that, and peace. Snow in the polar regions reminds us stillness can be strong, silence can be full of motion, and something soft can become something eternal. Tonight, you may feel like snow on a glacier, layered, quiet, but part of something vast. Let your breath move slowly. Let your thoughts compact gently. Let time stretch out across the frozen plain of your rest. You are safe here. You are whole. You are snow, and becoming ice. Tonight, we drift into the city, but not the noisy, hurried city of daylight and motion. No, this is the city under snow, a quieter version of itself, softened by winter's hush. You've seen it, the way snowfall transforms buildings and bridges, how the hum of traffic fades beneath the slow blanket of white. But did you know snow falls differently in cities? The way snow behaves in urban environments tells a unique story, one shaped not just by clouds and cold, but by concrete, heat, and human activity. This is the world of urban snowfall patterns, where snow meets street lamp and sky meets skyline. Cities are warmer than their surrounding countryside. This phenomenon is called the urban heat island effect. All that pavement, steel and glass absorbs heat during the day and releases it slowly through the night. Engines, lights, and heating systems add more warmth still. Even on the coldest nights, cities are often 1 to 7 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the open land around them. This small difference matters because snow is sensitive. It needs cold air, and even a few degrees can decide whether it falls as flake or rain. As snow clouds drift over cities, the warmer air may cause some flakes to melt in midair, turning into sleet or drizzle before they reach the ground. This can lead to a curious pattern: less snow accumulation in the heart of the city, and more in the quieter outskirts. But the story doesn't end there. Sometimes, tall buildings themselves influence snowfall. They disrupt air currents, causing wind eddies that stir the snow. Flakes swirl between skyscrapers, gather in sheltered corners, or vanish in drafts that push them upward again. Underpasses become pockets of calm. Alleyways hold secret drifts. Flat rooftops collect their own private snowfields. Snow in the city is uneven, but not unkind. You might picture it now, a quiet street after midnight. Streetlights glowing gold. Cars hushed beneath smooth white coats. Sidewalks softened, branches lined in lace. The snow knows how to find rest here, even amid steel and stone. And in some cases, cities create more snow. Brief flurries called urban-enhanced snowfall. Factories and power plants release steam and particles into the cold air. This extra moisture and nuclei can help crystals form, triggering light snow showers over urban zones, especially when the surrounding air is just cold enough. Even in the most built-up places, the sky finds a way. Tonight, perhaps your mind feels like a city, full of thoughts, lights, motion. But snowfall is arriving. Let it slow the streets. Let it mute the corners. Let your inner skyline be softened. Let your breath become snow in the alleyways of your thoughts. You don't have to leave the city to find peace. You only have to let the snow arrive. Quiet now. The city is sleeping, and you can too. Tonight, we peer into a screen, but not with strain or urgency. This is not the cold glow of work, but the quiet light of study, of simulation, of science meeting beauty. What if we could recreate a snowflake? Not just photograph it, but simulate its growth, crystal by crystal, in digital space. We can. This is the world of snowflake simulation, where researchers model the way flakes grow using mathematics, code, and atmospheric physics. It begins with an understanding of crystal growth. As we've learned, snowflakes form when water vapor freezes around a nucleus. But the way that crystal expands, the way arms branch, split, and curl, depends on tiny changes in humidity, temperature, and time. Simulating this is not easy. Scientists use diffusion-limited aggregation models, a method that mimics how particles move and attach to growing structures. In the snowflake's case, the particles are water molecules, and the structure is the ice crystal. Programs simulate each molecule's journey, how it floats, how it slows, how it meets a corner of ice and freezes in place. Over time, digital arms begin to form. They branch. They echo sixfold symmetry. They grow complex, not randomly, but from rules based in nature. Each simulation requires careful balance. Too much vapor, and the flake grows fat and irregular. Too little, and it stops growing. The computer must mimic the cloud. The cloud must be written in code. One well-known project is called Snowflake Morphogenesis, a research initiative where scientists created realistic flakes from nothing but algorithms and atmosphere-inspired parameters. Their results are astonishing, intricate, lifelike snowflakes, growing in real time on a digital canvas. And what do we learn from this? That even in the abstract world of simulation, snow remains delicate, responsive, unpredictable in detail, but always shaped by rhythm. Snowflake simulations help scientists understand how microclimates shape crystal growth, how branching patterns form, how the same initial condition can lead to vastly different outcomes with only the smallest change. It teaches us how snow behaves and how beauty emerges from constraint. You might imagine it now, a snowflake growing silently on a black screen, arms stretching outward with elegant symmetry, a digital echo of a cloud's slow breath. No two simulations are the same, just like no two real flakes are. And perhaps tonight, your own thoughts feel simulated, not artificial, but softly generated, forming from code you didn't know you carried. Let them grow, let them branch, let them mirror sleep's quiet symmetry. You are not chaotic, you are following quiet rules of rest, temperature, rhythm, stillness, like the flake, like the code, like the sky's secret pattern. Drift into it now, sleep forming in branching thoughts, and rest where science and snowfall meet. Not every snowflake reaches the ground whole. Tonight, we explore what happens when the journey isn't perfect, when the flake's arms crack, when symmetry shatters, when beauty arrives, broken. But even in this, there is wonder. A snowflake begins high in the cold upper sky, growing gently outward from its center, arms branching in 6 directions, shaped by vapor and silence. But the sky is not always still. As flakes begin their descent, they drift into a world of motion. They are delicate, each one a lacework of frozen breath. And though they may look strong under a microscope, they are fragile in flight. Turbulence, collisions, and temperature shifts can all break a snowflake's branches. Sometimes, the flake bumps into another flake, not enough to merge, but enough to snap an arm. Other times, it enters a warmer layer of air, and part of it melts, then refreezes, forming uneven edges or losing its shape altogether. A strong gust of wind can spin a flake until it fragments. And so, many of the snowflakes we see are not perfect stars, but partial ones, with 3 arms, or 5, or one side missing entirely. And yet, they still fall, still shimmer, still become part of the snow on the ground. In science, these are called broken crystals, or partially grown flakes. Sometimes they're born incomplete. Sometimes they're fractured along the way. But their stories are just as important, because the snow does not judge. A flake that is whole and a flake that is fractured will still nestle side by side. Together, they soften the earth. Together, they bring hush. You might imagine them now, a flurry of flakes falling at once, some star-shaped, some jagged, some uneven and quiet, each one still shining under the pale light of winter sky. Perhaps you felt this too, moments where you felt incomplete, days where your symmetry seemed lost, where your thoughts were not sharp or whole. But brokenness is part of the journey, and even fractured flakes become snow. Even shattered beauty becomes stillness. Let yourself drift tonight, not as something perfect, but as something real. Let your breath soften like a flake that's lost an arm, still floating, still lovely. You do not need to be whole to rest. You only need to fall into sleep's soft accumulation. And now, we reach the final drift, the last breath of winter, the final flake before spring begins to stir. Tonight, we explore what becomes of snow when the air begins to warm, when the last flake falls. The snow that once blanketed rooftops, weighed gently on pine branches, and silenced footsteps on early mornings does not stay forever. Snow is impermanent by nature. It falls, settles, and waits. But with time, the sun rises higher. The light lasts longer, and slowly, snow begins to change. The once crisp edges of flakes begin to soften. Tiny melt droplets form along branches and windowsills. The surface of the snowpack grows grainy, a wet sheen replacing sparkling crystals. This is the beginning of the thaw. Snow doesn't disappear all at once. It retreats, meltwater trickling from hillsides, forming rivulets that feed awakening streams. As it melts, snow gives back. It nourishes the soil, feeds the rivers, wakes the sleeping roots. And even as it fades, it remembers. Each patch of lingering snow holds the shape of shadows. It clings to the northern slopes, hides beneath trees, waits in the dips and valleys where cold lingers longer. These are the places where winter says its slow goodbye. You might picture it now, a meadow in early spring, green blades peeking through white, the last flake drifting lazily down onto a world already warming. It lands, melts, vanishes. But its presence is felt, in the bloom that follows, in the damp scent of thawing earth, in the hush that winter leaves behind. The last snowflake carries the memory of all the flakes before it, a final punctuation at the end of a long, quiet sentence. And with its melt comes change, not sudden, not loud, but inevitable and kind. Perhaps tonight you feel this within yourself, a long winter of the mind, beginning to soften. Let it melt. Let the edges of thought grow warmer. Let spring begin, not with a rush, but with a breath. You are allowed to carry both seasons inside you, the stillness of snow and the awakening of thaw. As the snow melts, new life grows. New dreams stir beneath the surface. You are not losing something, you are becoming. Let the last flake fall now. Let it vanish into warmth. Let your sleep open into something new. The snow has done its work, and now you rest until the next quiet season. And as our journey through snowflakes comes to a gentle close, I hope this soft snowfall of facts has brought you a sense of calm, maybe even a little wonder, tucked gently beneath your dreams. Each flake we followed tonight was part of something bigger, a quiet story in the sky, a lullaby written in ice. If these peaceful weather journeys bring you comfort, feel free to like or subscribe, but only if it feels right, and only if it adds to your rest. No pressure, no rush. You're already doing enough by simply being here, by listening, by letting go. So now, you can rest. Let your thoughts drift like flakes. Let your breath grow slower, softer. You are warm, you are safe. You are held in the quiet of this moment. Snuggle into the stillness. Let the world outside blur like a snow-covered window. Good night, dear listener. Peaceful dreams. Calm skies to you, always.